What if I told you there's a way to learn not just faster, but smarter? A method that a small group of superlearners use to master practically anything in a fraction of the time. This isn't about having a special talent or being a genius. It's about a specific strategy, a framework for learning itself. It's called meta-learning, or learning how to learn. And in this video, I am going to break down exactly what it is and how you can use it to unlock your own potential and master any skill you desire. So, what exactly is meta-learning? Let's break it down. The prefix meta means about the thing itself. So meta-learning is simply the process of learning about learning. Instead of just diving headfirst into a new subject, you take a step back and create a plan. You map out the territory before you start your journey. Think of it like this. If you wanted to build a house, you wouldn't just start throwing bricks together, right? You'd start with a blueprint. You'd figure out the foundation, the structure, the plumbing, the electrical systems. Meta-learning is the blueprint for acquiring a new skill. It's the strategic phase that comes before the tactical, day-to-day practice. Most people skip this step entirely, which is why they get lost, waste time on ineffective methods, and eventually give up. By investing a little time up front to understand the what, why, and how of the skill you want to learn, you create a personalized, efficient roadmap to success. This initial planning phase might feel like you're not making real progress, but trust me, it's the single most important factor in accelerating your learning curve. The first crucial step in meta-learning is what I call the deconstruction phase. You take the big, intimidating skill you want to learn, say, speaking Spanish, and you break it down into its smallest, most fundamental components. Speaking Spanish is way too vague. What does that actually involve? It involves pronunciation, common vocabulary, basic sentence structure, key verb conjugations, and asking simple questions. By deconstructing the skill, you demystify it. You turn a giant mountain into a series of small, manageable hills. For any skill, ask yourself, what are the absolute minimum learnable units? If you were learning to cook, it wouldn't be mastering French cuisine. It would be things like basic knife skills, understanding heat control, and learning the 5 mother sauces. This process does 2 amazing things. First, it makes the skill seem far less daunting, which boosts your motivation. Second, it helps you identify the most critical components to focus on first, the 20% of the effort that will yield 80% of the results. This is the Pareto principle in action. Identify the core building blocks, and you've just found your starting line. Once you've deconstructed the skill, the next step is selection. This is where you apply that 80-20th rule with ruthless efficiency. Not all of those little components you identified are created equal. Some are far more important than others, especially at the beginning. Your job is to identify the critical few. If you're learning Spanish, for example, instead of trying to memorize a dictionary, you could focus on the 100 most frequently used words. These words make up a surprisingly huge percentage of everyday conversation. If you're learning to play the guitar, instead of practicing dozens of complex scales, you could focus on the 4 or 5 chords that appear in thousands of popular songs. The key question to ask here is, what are the sub-skills that will give me the most bang for my buck right now? By prioritizing these high-leverage activities, you create a rapid feedback loop of success. You'll start to see tangible results quickly, which builds momentum and keeps you engaged in the learning process. Forget about being a perfectionist. At this stage, your goal is not to master everything. It's to get functional as quickly as possible. Okay, you've deconstructed the skill and selected the most important parts to learn first. Now we move to the sequencing phase. This is all about putting those pieces back together in the most logical and effective order. What should you learn first, second, third? A poor sequence can make learning feel like you're constantly hitting a wall. A great sequence creates a smooth, upward ramp of progress. For example, when learning to draw, it makes sense to learn about basic shapes and perspective before you try to draw a photorealistic portrait. When learning to code, you need to understand variables and functions before you can build a complex application. To figure out the best sequence, you can do some research. Look at curriculums for courses on the topic. Read the table of contents of the top-rated books. See how experts teach beginners. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Find a proven path that others have successfully followed and adapt it for yourself. A logical sequence prevents you from getting stuck on advanced topics before you've mastered the fundamentals they depend on. It's about building your skill, layer by layer, on a solid foundation. Now we get to the core of it, stakes. This is the part that so many people miss, but it's absolutely vital for staying committed. You need to create consequences for yourself. You need to have some skin in the game. Without stakes, it's far too easy to say, "I'll practice tomorrow," and let your new skill fall by the wayside. Stakes can be positive or negative. A positive stake might be a reward you give yourself for reaching a milestone. A negative stake, which is often more powerful, is a penalty for not following through. For example, you could make a public commitment. Tell your friends on social media that you, post a video of yourself playing a song on the guitar in 30 days. The fear of public embarrassment can be a huge motivator. Or you could use a service like StickK, where you commit to a goal and put real money on the line that goes to a charity you dislike if you fail. This might sound extreme, but creating this pressure forces you to prioritize your learning. It transforms your nice-to-have goal into a must-do mission. Ask yourself, how can I make it painful to quit? Find your stakes and you'll find your motivation. So, you have your plan, you've selected what to learn, you've set the right order, and you've established stakes. Now it's time to build your toolkit. This final stage of meta-learning is about gathering the tools and resources you will need for your journey. This isn't just about finding one book or one course. It's about creating a rich learning environment. You want to identify the best resources for the skill you're learning. This could include books, online courses, YouTube tutorials, software, apps, or even finding a mentor or a community. Spend an hour or two on research. What are the highest rated resources? What do experts in the field recommend? For learning a language, your toolkit might include a flashcard app like Enki for vocabulary, a language exchange app like HelloTalk to practice with native speakers, and a streaming service to watch shows in your target language. For learning web development, it might be a subscription to a platform like FreeCodeCamp, a good text editor, and a list of developer blogs to follow. By gathering these tools up front, you remove friction from the learning process. When it's time to practice, you won't waste time wondering what to do or where to go. Your entire learning environment will be set up and ready to support your progress. Let's put it all together with a concrete example. Imagine you want to learn how to create engaging short-form videos for platforms like TikTok or Instagram Reels. How would you apply the meta-learning framework? First, deconstruction. Creating short-form video involves several sub-skills: idea generation, scripting or outlining, filming techniques like lighting and framing, video editing, audio design, and understanding platform trends. Next, selection. Using the 80-20th rule, you realize that the most critical skills for a beginner are having a good hook in the first 3 seconds and simple, clean editing. You decide to focus on those two things first. Then, sequencing. Your learning path would be 1. Study 20 viral videos to understand what makes a good hook. 2. Learn the basic editing functions on a simple app like CapCut, just trimming clips and adding text. 3. Practice filming and editing 10 short videos focused only on those two skills. After that, you can move on to more advanced things like audio and lighting. For stakes, you commit to posting one new video every day for 30 days. Finally, for tools, your toolkit would be your smartphone, the CapCut app, and a list of 10 popular creators in your niche to study for inspiration. See how this structured approach turns a vague goal into a clear, actionable plan? The beauty of meta-learning is that it is itself a skill. The more you use this framework, the better you get at it. Your first meta-learning project might take a few hours to plan, but your fifth will be much faster. You'll start to intuitively see how to deconstruct skills, identify the critical components, and find the most efficient learning paths. You are literally upgrading your ability to learn. This is the ultimate multiplier skill. It doesn't just help you learn one thing. It helps you learn anything asterisk faster for the rest of your life. Whether you want to start a business, change careers, or pick up a new hobby, mastering the process of meta learning gives you the confidence and the competence to tackle any challenge. So I challenge you to try this. Pick one skill you've been wanting to learn. Just one. Don't start practicing it yet. Instead, take 1 hour and go through the meta learning process we've discussed. You'll not only learn the skill faster, but you'll enjoy the process a whole lot more.